back. I had to take my sweatshirt off because it's a little warm outside. Um, but as I'm sitting here, or not sitting here, I'm not quite sitting here. Uh, as I'm like doing all of this, you can see I picked up most of it. As I'm like picking up all of these sticks, these limbs, um, some of them are like getting entangled in my feet. And if you kind of like look through, they're kind of all entangled and kind of like together, like so they're kind of, it's hard to pick them up and all of that. So kind of funny because I'm always looking at stuff like, oh, how is this showing up in the cosmos? And so I feel like the Venus retrograde and the Mercury retrograde and the new moon solar eclipse in Aries, all the stuff in Aries and Pisces, and Neptune and Saturn going into Aries. So all of this is like really like, I think I was already feeling this, but it's kind of like, oh, okay, I'm starting to understand it more. Um, so I feel like Venus and Mercury are leading the way, like they're paving the path forward. Mercury likes to deconstruct and to build. Like Mercury is very good at deconstructing things and building things back up, like rewiring things, and it wants to deconstruct and then rewire it in a new way. It created like a new pathway. So I'm feeling like Venus and the Aries is the I am. So being in right relationship with the self, with the relationship with the I am, with you, with me, with inside of me. And Mercury's helping Venus to unwind things, untangle things, like like how entangled we are in all of the parts of self and entrapments, like all the different things within self. So Mercury's helping, like they're traveling together, and Mercury's helping Venus unwind things, untangle things about the self, relationship to self, and creating and rewiring things in a new way that honors the self, that the true self, coming back to right relationship within self. And then when Neptune comes in the end of the month, I think it's on the 29th, I'm not exactly sure. Maybe that's I can't remember. I know it's at the end of the month. It's like one of the very last days of the month. Neptune goes into Aries. And I feel like, so as Venus and Mercury are going on their journey, Neptune comes in and dissolves everything that is not true to the I am self, the relationship with self. And so it's like we're going on this journey. And it's so interesting how I'm going on this journey outside, and it's kind of just like reflecting. And this is my magnolia tree behind me. I don't know the names of all my trees, but I do know a few of them. And this one's my magnolia, and I love my magnolia tree. My favorites are the magnolia and the live oaks. And I love the other ones when they're in full bloom, but after that, they get very messy. Like they're very messy. My magnolia is messy, but I don't mind the mess. They have these beautiful big white flowers, the magnolia flowers on the trees, and they're so beautiful. I just love them. But the other ones, it's like I come and go. Like I love it when it's springtime and it's like the blooms, but then after that, I'm like, ugh. Okay. Anyways, off of that. Like, what are the things that you love about the self? Like, what are the things you love about like the different parts of your tree, the different like tree that's planted in you? Like the things that are blooming that you love. And then the other parts that are like not so, maybe not so um true to self or not like ready to like release and let go of and just kind of like and allow Neptune to come in and just dissolve and release, like surrender into it. That's a beautiful way to play with this energy. And it may not be easy it may not be a pleasant journey, or I shouldn't say pleasant, but it may not be like the easiest journeys. But I also think the more that we come into the self, the true self, and release all aspects that are not true to self, it's like we get more of that right alignment, that entangled, we become like really integral within ourselves. And I feel like everything just really opens up and blossoms for us. And we grow into new areas and new territory. And I was just thinking about the trees, and I'm like, okay, well, if you cut some of the limbs and you could shape them, like kind of guide them to go in like the way you want them to grow, like cut off some things so they bloom, and it's like, what do they call that? I can't think of it, like pruning, like where you're pruning the trees, like you're pruning your plants, like we're in pruning season. So Mercury and Venus are helping us prune things, like unwind and unwind things, and then rewire things. And how can we rewire things to get it to where we want it, like the way we want it to go, in the right direction, like in our soul direction, and our soul to be aligned to our soul path, our higher path. And that's really kind of like, that's what I feel like Earth School is about, is we came in as true souls, and then through patterning and conditioning as our upbringing. And then when we get a certain age, we're like, okay, let's dissolve, let's unwind, let's come back to the true soul, to the true self, and go in that direction and go there and have fun there and play and go on adventures, and always like surrendering and allowing, releasing. And so the new pathways, the new doorways can open up more and more. So the more we release and the more we surrender, the more we are guided to go in new directions and new places and new spaces. And that can be a lot of fun too. So I think the more we're open to growth and expansion, the more fun it can be. So just a little another fun adventure.